Do you think of yourself as Bowie or David Jones, the boy from South London?
Less and less as Bowie. I don't even know how to pronounce it anymore.
Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes. Don't wanna be a richer man. Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes. It's gonna have to be a different man. Time may change me, but I can't trace time.
My mother didn't realise what she was starting, but she would always say at breakfast, "Oh, I could have been a singer, you know," and then she'd sing, and there was this thing on radio, Two-Way Family Favourites, when I was about 6, and every Sunday without fail, this thing by Ernest Luft was sung. And my mother would say, "Oh, for the wings of a dove." So that was like one of my first influences, I think, was Ernest Luft. I wanted to be a white Little Richard at 8. I remember getting so excited when they showed Little Richard on television. It was just amazing to actually see him moving. He'd just been a record to me before, you know. I saw him first in 1963, I think it was, and the Rolling Stones were opening up for him, and I'd never seen anything so rebellious in my life. Some guy yells out, "Get your hair cut." And Mick says, "What, and look like you?"
So with the nucleus of some of his friends, a 17-year-old Davy Jones has just founded the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Long-Haired Men. Well, here we are. Long-haired men, you've got to have your hair, what, 9 inches long before you can join?
Well, I think we're past that over now.
Have you?
Yes.
Now, exactly who's being cruel to you?
Well, I think we're all fairly tolerant, but for the last 2 years we've had comments like "darling" and "can I carry a handbag" thrown at us. And I think it's just had to stop now.
I mean, did you get this off the Rolling Stones, really?
Oh, no, no, definitely not.
But did any of you have your hair growing long more than 2 years ago, sir?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Did you? Before the Rolling Stones ever did?
Well, it takes a long time to get this length, you know.
But do you really think that many people are on your side, is what I'm saying?
Oh, yes, there's quite a few,
quite a few.
1,000 teenagers over Britain.
Ever since I was a teenager, I felt so adrift and so not part of everyone else, with so many dark secrets about my family in the cupboard, that it kind of made me feel very much on the outside of everything.
It was my initial fascination with mime and expressing things with facial movements and body talk rather than articulating things. I mean, I'd done as much articulating as I felt was necessary with the actual songs.
Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Take your protein pills and put your helmet on. 10. Ground control to Major Tom. 8, 7, 6. Commencing countdown, engines on. And may God's love be with you. This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade. And the papers want to know whose shirt you wear. Now it's time to leave the capsule if you dare. This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door, and I'm floating in a most peculiar way.
I wasn't that comfortable as a singer, but I knew that I could probably project a character or an emotion. I could tell the story with my voice if I could find the right tenor for it. I was influenced on one part by Little Richard, on the other part by people like Tony Newley, Scott Walker, Elvis Presley, and I knew that I was none of those. So I thought the best thing for me to do was just sort of use different stylings for different...
By millions of girls. Outside the Winter Gardens of Bournemouth, some of those fans are arriving to pay homage to a man who's become the high priest of pop. Every seat was sold months ago. Some fans were even blessed with a glimpse of the master as he scurried into the theatre.
Oh no, I want to see him!
What are you so upset about?
I wanted to see him. They said he was coming round the back. I've been waiting for ages to see him. 9 o'clock.
Why are you so upset?
He's smashing. I kissed him. I kissed his hand. I kissed his hand. I kissed his hand.
Gina, bells on his back. Gina loves him to stats. He's outrageous, 694. The Gina lets us all go.
Meanwhile, the object of so much interest is trying on his kinky boots.
When I was a teenager, I had it in my mind that I would be a creator of musicals. I sincerely wanted to write musicals for the West End and for Broadway, whatever. I didn't see much further than that. As a writer, and I really had the idea in my head that people would do my songs. And I was not a natural performer. I didn't feel at ease on stage, ever. I had created this one character, Ziggy Stardust, that it seemed that I would be the one that would play him because nobody else was doing my songs, and the chances of my actually getting a musical mounted were very slim. And so I became Ziggy Stardust for that period. And I felt really comfortable going on stage as somebody else. And it seemed a rational decision to keep on doing that. And so I got quite besotted with the idea of just creating character after character.
He's also been smart enough to realise that in showbiz, the more outrageous you are, the more people will notice you.
This is my life, really, you know, writing or performing. There's not much else I want. It's the biggest kick I know. I know all the drugs and, you know, you get a different kind of buzz off those, but stage is just something else. It's partaking of people. I'm very much a character when I go on stage, I feel. I mean,
Like an actor?
Yeah, I believe in my part all the way down the line, right the way down. But I do play it for all it's worth, because that's the way I do my stage thing. That's part of what Bowie's supposedly all about. I'm an actor. Oh, it's all right.
Later, he selects a satin psychedelic leotard.
Now, I'll tell you what was even funnier, though, was getting my band to put the clothes on. These guys all came from Hull. You know, we're going to play a rock and roll band, they like the songs and all.
He's retiring from live performances before, so perhaps like Frank Sinatra, he might make the occasional comeback. And at the age of 26, he's perhaps young enough to retire as often as he wants.
Ziggy play guitar.
I just wanted to move somewhere else. There's new kind of music. I wanted to write something, a different kind of theatricality I wanted to bring into it. It was great to let go of it, but I tend to grasshopper about. My attention span is very short.
An exercise for me. And he really grew sort of out of proportion, I suppose. Got much bigger than I thought Ziggy was going to be. I didn't ever see Ziggy as big. Really, it was his own personality being unable to cope with the circumstances he found himself in, which is being an almighty prophet-like superstar rocker who found he didn't know what to do with it once he got it. Which is, it's an archetype, really. It's the definitive rock and roll star. It often happens. And I was just trying to document it as such. Yes, I had a kind of a strange psychosomatic death wish thing, I think. But that's because I was so lost in Ziggy, I think, again. It was all that schizophrenia.
In the year of the scavenger, season of the bed, sachet on the boardwalk, scurry to the ditch. Just another future song, lonely little kid. Try and wake up tomorrow. I keep my friends serene. Oh, baby, coming to me. Well, she's coming, I'm gone. I'm out of the garden, baby. You catch a death on the boat. Young girl, they call them the diamond boat. Yeah, young girl, they call them the diamond boat.
It did look as if it was the ghost of Ziggy Stardust you were tying up.
Yes, exactly. That's what happened. It was trying to get rid of the damn character. It was kind of following me around, and hopefully, not. You see, I'm very happy with Ziggy. I think he was a very successful character, and I think I played him very well. But I'm glad I'm me now. I'm glad I'm me. My God, I can try.
So what's happening?
Absolute Ruhe, bitte.
So what's happened since?
Since Ziggy, good Lord. Well, the last time you saw me or were with me, it was in Los Angeles, wasn't it? One of the worst periods, I think, in my life, I think. I got into a lot of emotional and spiritual trouble there. And so I decided to split and discover new ways of relating to the music business, per se. I wasn't sure exactly what I was in it for anymore.
Was there a clash between the sort of materialism, the need to be a rock star, successful, if you like?
Yes, I think very much so. And as I really didn't want to be one myself, I was living more and more in the style of one of my characters who wanted terrific success because they're all messiah figures, most of them. Either light or dark shadowings. And so because I knew, I really felt that the material aspect was something that had to be done in Los Angeles because it's driven into you. It's the food of Los Angeles. Hollywood, rather, not Los Angeles. Unfair on Los Angeles. And so I just packed up everything one day and I moved back to Europe again.
I wish you could swim like dolphins can swim. Though nothing will keep us together, or we can be them forever and ever. We can be heroes just for one day.
is there a danger that by following your instinct, your aesthetic instincts, if you like, your artistic instinct, that you will jeopardize that, you know?
In what I do. It just needed a positive decision to only do what I want to do and not do things for the sake of what either David Bowie or whoever I was playing last time, Thin White Duke or something, was expected.
Now, into this ever-changing world of current affairs, we welcome a chameleon of show business. Yet another David Bowie. Is this the real one this time?
Well, I think so, yes.
A lot of people looking at some of those roles that you played, I think would have been very shocked and found them very outrageous.
Yeah.
And also there's this tremendous tendency to think of rock stars or pop stars generally, as being a bit thick. I mean, obviously there's, I presume, a lot more to you than that. Did it worry you that people have that kind of image?
No, I'm very thick.
Are you?
Yes, I became a rock star.
What is your rank?
Lieutenant.
Well, Lieutenant, I'm the head of a regiment of sorts. The Gigolos.
Yes, your lieutenant told me.
Lieutenant, there's one thing I don't like. Poor fantasy in speech. It lacks charm. And you don't seem to lack anything.
Do you lack anything, David Bowie?
Isn't she lovely?
She's marvellous.
I wish I'd met her.
Looks fantastic.
A long time ago.
I'm picking up the line she addressed you in the film. Do you feel you lack anything, or have you got everything you want now?
Yes, a train ticket to Penge. I've got some friends out there, and I promised I'd go and see them this week, but I haven't had the time to get down there yet.
Are you going to give up music now and concentrate on acting? Is this a new whole direction?
I'd like to expand my activities, as they say. No, I enjoy writing very much.
But writing, just music, or writing all sorts of writing?
Funnily enough, I am sort of studiously trying to write a book of short stories based on things that I've done. But writing music generally. Performance on stage, I think I've decided really to cut it down for once every 2 years because I find it boring. After the first 10 shows, it starts to become repetitious every night, the same thing.
So will there be more acting and more films?
Yes, there will. I'm heading towards directing.
Are you?
Yeah, very much.
That's a final hope, is it?
No, I want to be a good painter again. It's my really big dream.
And now Bowie in New York. The play in which rock star David Bowie has scored a remarkable triumph on Broadway is called The Elephant Man. It's a story set in late 19th century England of John Merrick, played by Bowie, a grotesquely deformed man who suffered a miserable existence as a pathetic circus attraction until he was befriended by a brilliant young surgeon. Bowie's first appearance as a straight actor met with almost universal praise from the New York critics, and I know to my cost that they can be slightly unpleasant at times, and there are long lines...
Director Nagisa Oshima.
I always look for characters who have either an emotional or a physical limp. I find that, for me, not being I don't really see my future in acting to a greater extent than my involvement now. So I really like to have characters that I can at least play around with.
He asked me my name and my rank, and I told him. Then Lieutenant Ito asked me, "Is that true?" I replied, "Of course it is. I'm with the British Army."
Is it worth coming to cope with the pressures of Cannes to sell a movie like Merry Christmas?
I think that a cultural co-production like Merry Christmas deserves every poundage of help that it can get, because it's otherwise it can be relegated to a position of an art movie.
Plus fort le micro, s'il vous plaît, pour Monsieur Bowie.
It's awful, really unbelievably diabolical. I do it very rarely. This is like the second time I've done it in God knows how many years. But I appreciate the value of doing it. There's time to to be public with things. I mean, I don't know. I've always been a pretty private person, but I think I'm changing somewhat. That I think it's now important for me as an artist. It's slowly dawned on me that part of an artist's responsibility is to make himself open to the people that are trying to understand his work. Still not at ease with the situation, but it's making sense now.
Live Aid, the biggest musical event ever, is still going on at Wembley Stadium in London. It's being beamed to more than 100 countries around the world, with about 1.5 billion people watching. The aim is to raise £10 million for the starving in Africa.
Goblin King.
What's the word on David? He's not going to be... Every age group really has a whole thing about David. And he himself is a very normal, well-grounded, straightforward person that is absolutely professional. And if he says hoodoo, and you do.
Like previous performances, this saw Bowie as himself, just another member of the band.
Do you look back on the old sort of Bowie stuff and compare this? Does it lie on a continuum?
No, he just looks at the old Bowie.
And now music from a band formed only 3 years ago with a second album and a new single, You Belong in Rock and Roll. Keep an eye on their promising young vocalist. Tin Machine.
You belong in rock and roll. You belong in rock and roll. You belong in rock and roll. But so do I. I love how she moves me. It makes me feel alright, 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 alright.
I screw up in major ways. I'd much prefer to have a magnificent disaster than a mediocre success.
I'm a hurting.
I'd be a fool not to be aware of what my contribution has been to music over the years. You know, I kind of hear traces of it here, there, and everywhere. I only write for myself. I don't take much regard for my audience, whoever they might be.
You're sleeping now, thinking that so stationary. You're released, but you custody cold. I don't wanna be free. Don't you wanna be free? Do you like girls or boys? Yeah, it's confusing these days. But no dust will cover you. This chaos is
Neil asked me if he could mix it because he thought it was a big single. So I said, yeah, I'd love one that the radio played. So he went away and mixed it, and now the radio are playing it. He knows these things. He has these secret ears.
Ground to Major, bye-bye Tom.
We cut up the words of Space Odyssey, and he phoned up when we were in the studio, and he said, oh, how's it going? I said, well, there's not a second verse, so we've cut up the words of Space Odyssey. And there was a long pause on the phone. He said, sounds like I better come into studio, I think. And I thought, oh my God, we're in trouble. And then he came in, and he laughed, and he really liked it.
Me, I'm a pretty fulfilled artist. I like what I've done on the majority of the occasions, and I'm in exactly the place where I want to be at the moment. So that's for me is a good thing.
Little wonder then, little wonder, you little wonder you.
If I just do things that I really get off on, that I think are exciting, then I can't guarantee that everybody will like it. That's just ridiculous. That's a fantasy. But you can guarantee that somebody's going to like it.
Would you be happy with just being remembered as a rock star, a rock god?
Two things strike me about that. One, I'd be happy to be remembered. And secondly, by anybody. That's a bonus. I must sound very complacent, but frankly, it doesn't bother me. I'm very glad that I've got this life, and it's a gift, and for that, I'm thankful enough, frankly.
Oh my naked eyes, should have kept you, should have tried, should have been wiser kind of guy.
I loved you.
I mean, at a personal level, you don't do drugs anymore.
No, absolutely not.
And you don't drink?
I don't drink either, no.
Not even a glass of wine or
No,
anything?
it would kill me if I
What do you
started
mean it
again.
would kill you?
I'm an alcoholic, so it would be a kiss of death for me to start drinking again. And my relationships with my friends, my family, everybody around me are so good and have been for so many years now. I wouldn't do anything to destroy that again. You know, it's very hard to have relationships when you're doing drugs and drinking. For me personally, anyway. You become closed off, unreceptive, insensitive, all the dreadful things that you've heard every other pop singer ever say. And I was very lucky that I found my way out of that. It's been good for me. I've reassessed my life any number of times.
It is so exciting. The crowd are rising up. It's a moment we have all been waiting for. The Thin White Duke returns to Glastonbury. The last time he played here was 1971. He's on stage now. Let's go and see him. It's David Bowie.
I'd just written this one the first time I played Glastonbury, 1971. Oh, Glastonbury. Changes. Changes. Didn't want to have to be a better man, but changes. Changes. I just wanted to be a better man. Time may change me. I can trace time.
I never became who I should have been until maybe 12, 15 years ago. I spent an awful lot of my life, as I think most people in so-called entertainment industry, actually looking for myself, you know, and understanding what it was that what I existed for, what was it that really made me happy in life, and who exactly I was, and who are the parts of myself I was trying to hide from a lot. You know, it's like exposing yourself. And I think a lot of us are, one, dysfunctional in show business. Show business. Pretty dysfunctional, and two, in huge senses of denial about who we are and where we exist in the world. There's some kind of traumatism often goes on in our childhoods, I think, that makes us crave some kind of strange affection, you know? It's sort of, and often you'll find that the person who craves a lot of affection actually isn't terribly good at giving it.
They said you took a big trip, said you moved away. It happened all so quietly, so they say. I should have took a picture, something I could keep. I'd buy you a little frame, something cheap for you. Everyone says hi.
Are you a new age father now? Are you a nappy changer? Come on.
No, I'm ridiculously Victorian. I'm absolutely hopeless at that kind of thing. I've got a huge admiration for guys who can get in there like that. I just can't. I mean, well, I didn't. My wife didn't let me, which was great. She was, oh, get out of here, you know, and she was like pinning and wrapping things up, and, you know, I knew there was some kind of, something in there was being prepared, and at the end of it all, my little daughter came out. It was great. But I'm good at saying, this is a book, and we're going to look at this, and, you know, come to this museum, and I'm kind of fairly good like that, I think.
Waiting for something, looking for someone. There's no reason have I stayed too long. Oh,
we've got your old Tony Visconti
Yeah.
on it, producing it.
And he is old as well.
Is he?
Yeah.
Why did you decide to go back with him? He did lots of your early things, didn't he?
Yeah, we stopped arguing, you know, and it was like, it worked out that we started getting on as friends and all that. And we'd already done a lot of really good stuff together, so it was worth the chance, you know, of going back in and see what else we could do between us. So I'm really pleased we did. It was a good move. It's a good album.
Streets damp and warm, empty smell metal, weeds between buildings, pictures on my hard drive, but I'm the luckiest guy. Not the loneliest guy.
I had this poetic, romantic, kind of juvenile idea that I would be dead by 30, you know, because that's all artists think. I'll be dead by 30, you know, I'm going to get TB and die and loss of blood, Audrey Beardsley and all that. And, but you don't, you know, you get past it and then suddenly you're 30 and you're 40 and then you're 50 and 57 and all that. And it's a new land, you know. Sure. I'm a pioneer. Me and my kind.
That's right.
Christopher Isherwood. Me and my kind. Just sort of scraping the edge of what this thing is about, being a rock and roller at 57. Right. But my revenge is all these bands that are below us, you know, they've got to do this. So they're kind of saying, yeah, they're like really old, but secretly they're thinking, I better watch how he does it, because I'm going to get this.
Oh, the arrows left unlearned. Oh, but I'm the luckiest guy. Not the loneliest guy in the world. Not me.
He's back 40 years after Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, and 10 years since his last single. David Bowie has released a new song. It marks the singer's 66th birthday, and an album is to follow. Our arts editor, Will Gompertz, has been listening.
Without fanfare or flamboyance,
Sitting in the jungle.
David Bowie simply posted.
I think it's poignant. But the other thing I love is that we know that he's had times of ill health recently, and I detect a little bit of kind of fragility in the voice, even though it's crooning, which is a really endearing.
Tonight at 10, the life and music of David Bowie, the rock legend who's died at the age of 69. His career spanned half a century, leaving an indelible mark.
He released his final album, Black Star, last week on his 69th birthday. True to form, it was innovative